What's up everyone, I'm the Gaming Albino. The Wii U wasn't a failure, but it certainly was a success either. After its launch, it took a long time for the wheels to start turning and games to be developed before consumers would actually want to go out and pick up the console. The reason for the Wii U's struggle with lackluster sales and lack of third-party support can easily be blamed on its launch. Nobody actually knew what the Wii U was, whether it was a successor to the Wii or was it some sort of add-on. The marketing was done all wrong and had hardly any software available at launch. Here's hoping Nintendo can turn around a new leaf with the NX. So far they've done a good job at keeping everyone in suspense. But by around September, Nintendo will actually have to reveal the console and some of its games in order to have enough time to market the console for a March 2017 release. I have high hopes for the console, and with my eager anticipation, I'm going to predict what games will accompany the NX at launch. The most obvious game we already know is confirmed is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Definitive Edition. The Wii U gameplay has already gotten me excited. I can only imagine what the NX version has to offer. I think Nintendo will stay away from gimmicks in this console, so we'll have a traditional Zelda without touch or motion controls, just like Ocarina of Time or like Twilight Princess on the GameCube. Most likely the NX version will have slightly more enhanced graphics and better load times. There will also probably be additional quests, items, and maybe even a dungeon, and if we're lucky, maybe some DLC in the future. Based on the popularity and demand from the Wii U, that's one thing Nintendo's going to pursue a lot more, and that's online support and DLC. Nintendo would have to be stupid not to make this available for their more popular games. During E3 2015, Shigeru Miyamoto said Pikmin 4 was near completion, making it obvious to presume that this would be released on the Wii U. But with over a year without hearing anything, it's a safe bet Nintendo's now saving Pikmin 4 for a launch title on the NX. Pikmin 3 was promised as a launch title for the Wii U, but it kept getting pushed back. Hopefully Pikmin 4 has had enough time for development that we can expect this on store shelves when we're promised. I find it weird playing a Pikmin game without the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, so I hope they really have an option to use this controller. In this game, without a doubt, they'll bring back Rock Pikmin and Flying Pikmin, and maybe return the white and purple ones as well. With all the time they've had to develop this game, I'm sure they'll make a few more new Pikmin to the game as well. With the launch of every console, Nintendo always bundles a game in with the actual console. The Wii had Wii Sports, the Wii U had Nintendo Land. It's a safe bet the NX will have something too. I'm placing my chips on something entirely new, a game that will get the player used to the controls of the NX. But without knowing what the actual NX controller looks like, it's hard to presume what that game may be. They could do a Nintendo Land 2 to get players into Nintendo's other IPs with the use of mini-games. But I think I'd like to see something original instead. Almost every Nintendo console launches with a Mario title, and I really hope the NX is no exception. With how popular the 2D side-scrolling Mario games are, it's not hard to imagine Nintendo making another one in the series. A 2D Mario game will come inevitably, but I'm betting on a 3D Mario game. Technically the last one we got was Super Mario 3D World, but that wasn't a traditional 3D Mario game. Fans have been clamoring for a new Mario game for a long time, so Nintendo would have to be really stupid not to make one. One of the obvious games they can make is Super Mario Galaxy 3. I could see Nintendo doing this to please the fans, but I think they'll go back to more traditional Super Mario 64. More open world like what they're doing with Breath of the Wild, except collecting stars all over the Mushroom Kingdom. I really hope this is made because I enjoyed the exploration in Super Mario 64 compared to being led down a linear path like in the Galaxy games. But Mario can't take the entire spotlight. I feel there's enough room for his brother Luigi and a brand new Luigi's Mansion game. I feel this game could really excel from a console with HD graphics to give the mansion such detail and atmosphere. With added detail, they could give the game real personality. Combine the first two games by adding multiple mansions, missions, and a free roam feature. Splatoon only came out a few years ago, so I don't think that's enough time for them to make a sequel. A sequel will come, but just not yet. There's always the possibility Nintendo can make an entirely new IP. With the popularity of the Amiibos, I feel Nintendo can make a game strictly revolving those. Maybe like a Disney Infinity type game, or a Smash Brothers platformer, or even a kart racer or something. Retro Studios is slowly becoming the new rare at Nintendo. The last game they made was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, so now there's a few possibilities of what Retro Studios could make next. They could easily make a new Donkey Kong Country, but I think I'd like to see them try their hand at something new, like a 3D Donkey Kong game, to change things up a little. Maybe even see a return from the Critters in King K. Rool. Retro Studios is also well known for bringing Samus to the third dimension in Metroid Prime, and fans have been desperately asking for a new Metroid game for years. So this is a huge possibility as well. The last option would be for them to make an entirely new IP altogether, which has been rumored. And just like Samus, F-Zero has been something that's been desperately asked for years, so I could also see Nintendo making one of these as well. Where the Wii U suffered was from a lack of third-party content. To really get sales going, Nintendo needs support from third-party developers. And to no longer be seen as a family console, they need more adult-rated games. Just to list a few potential third-party games they could get would be Call of Duty, Doom, the newest Sonic, Final Fantasy, Tom Clancy, Injustice 2, Yooka-Laylee, and the list goes on. Another rumor is that the NX is going to have a definitive edition of Super Smash Bros. From the Wii U. Nintendo definitely didn't have enough time to make a completely new game, so it makes sense that they update a pre-existing game. Plus, Sakurai is retired from Smash Bros. I can imagine that they would make a version of the game including all the DLC characters, and maybe a story mode for the definitive edition of the game. If the NX is a console handheld hybrid, that means there's always the possibility of having handheld games such as Pokemon, but not like Pokemon Tournament, an actual Pokemon game. They might just make an HD remake of Pokemon Sun and Moon, or make something entirely new altogether. The Pokemon series sells incredibly well, and it would get many people to buy the NX. I think something like this would work very well on a console, for giant open worlds, great graphics, stories, cinematics, and of course as many Pokemon as they damn well wanted. If the NX is a handheld hybrid, that means it's also been over 5 years since Mario Kart has been on a handheld console. Mario Kart 7 came out in 2011, Mario Kart 8 in 2014. It fits perfectly for a new game to come out in 2017. That's a huge list of games Nintendo could be making for the NX. But I think they could step it up a little bit more with their Virtual Console, which I personally feel didn't get enough love on the Wii U. Their NES and Super NES collection isn't bad, but I think they could do a better job with the newer consoles. The N64 had a giant library they could use. They had the basics like Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, but they need other games like Pokemon Snap, the Mario Party series, Diddy Kong Racing, and Star Fox. On the Wii U, they also introduced Wii games. They could add more to that, but they completely ignored the GameCube on the Virtual Console. The GameCube didn't sell well when it was first released, so this is a chance at redemption. So many classic titles that gamers didn't have a chance at playing, like the original Luigi's Mansion, the Mario games, Zelda, Metroid, and the list goes on. On the Wii U, they started introducing handheld games to the Virtual Console, like Game Boy and DS games. They can add to that library. I rather doubt that they would do this, but I think it'd be cool to see some 3DS titles as well. I'm not much of playing on small handheld screens, so I didn't play many 3DS games. It could be really fun to play the countless number of titles on a big screen. So that was my list of the games I predict that will come out at launch with the NX. Please comment below what games you think will launch with the NX, and which ones you're most excited for. I'm the Gaming Albino. Bye bye!